Yeah, going on another American right meme is I wanted to discuss is a lot of people in our country and also the UK and elsewhere thinks that Poland is very base, and I believe you disagree with this, that you do not see the Poles as based in red pill. Well, why do you have this opinion? Why don't you respect? Why aren't you retweeting base Poland and everything like that?
Oh God! Uh, the best Poland, also known as the 51st state of America, is a sort of what I see as the space that you call Poland is just where I see like the big boot of the American hegemony is resting on in Europe. It's like if Polish people could, they would turn the entire country into one large U.S. air base, and the amount of bootlicking there is just above and beyond. What do they even do with all the money we send them? I have no idea. If you would pack a 16-wheeler truck full of 50-euro bills and send one over every hour over the border from Germany to Poland, that's how much money you're sending to them. Like that. There goes another one, and another one, and another one, and they have no welfare system. Where the fuck? Where does the money go, man? Where is it? It's just a black hole. It's a huge
They're
black hole
creating
in
better
Europe.
polka music. What are you talking about?
They,
They're
this,
using
they,
it for they're using it for very good means.
they are great at stealing cars and driving them all the way from either from England or Germany or Denmark, and they always end up in Poland. And if you have big debts, you can always run to Poland because there's no bookkeeping, no loss. I've worked with a bookkeeping firm, and when you do business with Poles, they have debts to pay, they go back to Poland. You're never seeing that money ever again. It's amazing. I don't think they even spend it on anything other than cigarettes. And then they have like this. A friend of mine said this very well, that Polish people are a people who are deathly afraid of holding their own destiny in their own hands. They can't do it. Once they are free to do whatever they do, they want to do, they don't know, they get panicked, and now I'm solely responsible for myself. They said, please, I need a master. So it goes from from Germans to the Soviets, back to the Germans, whatever. You can look back at their history. They literally threw their crown at a Swedish nobleman. Please be our king. Or to Saxon Germans as well. They had a system of always having a foreign ruler on top, so that the Polish nobility could be, instead of squabbling with each other, they could all be unified against the king. He's a foreigner. He's the other, and it's a survival strategy that Poles have adopted, and they still do this today. They have this evil king known as the EU. It's so abstract. The Poles can't abstract to that level. They just view it as a king in their country. And then all the Polish people can unite against their hatred of the ruler. And that's basically Poland throughout all its history. It's just squatting there. It's just draining resources. And they're just generally really, really annoying. And anytime you bring them like high culture, anything, they downgrade it, they bastardize it, they bring it down to the lowest level, and then they steal your car. And then what do you do?
I don't know if we can fact check all of these claims about the poor Poles, but I have a friend who's a German poster on there, and he says many of the same things about Poles. He's like, "Oh no, not the Poles." A lot of Americans don't understand about this Western European antipathy towards Poles, which I guess you've kind of explained it. Whether they're all stealing cars and then selling the car just to buy, a lifetime supply of cigarettes or something. I mean, we're not quite sure if we get this, but I do think it is good to have a more realistic appreciation of Poland, because some people, especially a lot of mainstream conservatives, think that like Poland will have like a new revival of Europe. A lot of like the trads and people who are writing for conservative Catholic magazines imagine that Poland will become like the center of Europe and rule it and make it a more Christian continent. But it doesn't seem like it has the ability to do that. It's so dependent on the EU and America that it doesn't really have the power to rule itself, much less the continent.
There's a big Polish convention for Polish ethnics that takes place in Germany every summer, where they ship over hundreds of thousands of Poles, go over by a bus and truck loads, all gather. And it's called the yearly asparagus picking on the German farms. And they just all come there and pick in the scorching summer heat. They pick fruits, and then they get like €2 an hour, and then they all go home. And that is the peak of Polish cultural expression, and that is also the engine of Polish initiative and the workhorse of their economy. And when the Corona crisis hit, borders closed, the biggest impact we felt when there weren't any Poles around anymore was that German asparagus fields now didn't have anyone to pick them. Oh no! Who is going to fix my toilet now? No!
No Polish plumbers! Polish plumbers, come back! No!
Tobacco shops across the Europe. Car insurers around the continent breathed a sigh of relief as the borders around Poland were closed down, and suddenly, well, anyways. I'll not go that far.
We have a similar. I mean, because all of our farm workers primarily come from Latin America here, and we have the same thing where they come temporarily. We have a much more probably screwed up system than maybe in Europe.
The best way to really hammer home what a based Poland would be like for somebody in America to understand the comparison is if with a traditional workers' party and their trailer park commune was a country. That's the best way to describe it.